It may seem a little subtle, but something has changed around here in the past year or so. Just over a year ago, if you looked at my shelves back there, it was basically all Nikon gear. There was the occasional Fujifilm and Canon camera, because Raymond and I love all brands, but things started changing quickly. Some things have gone to live in new homes, and you'll still see Nikon gear, but we've added a Sony camera, now 2, a Leica camera, now 2, and the latest Fujifilm X100 series camera. And the lenses we own and the cameras we've reviewed have come from all different brands, and we have a growing collection of cross-brand lens adapters that seemingly came out of nowhere. Along with that, our lens collection has stayed fairly constant in number, but grown in diversity. You might hear the term standard zoom or normal lens. For us, and for many of you, those are sometimes necessary items, but we've actually been challenging some of our own long-held assumptions about what back there is necessary and what might disappear, even if we don't have a direct replacement for it. I'll be talking more about this creative journey and evolution of ours in an upcoming video, but it seemed a good preface for today's lens review, the 7Artisans 50mm f1.1 M mount lens. Quick interruption. Members don't miss the member exclusive video this week. I share photos I took in San Diego with 2 medium format cameras I was borrowing, along with a few thoughts on each. There's a link in the description to find that video, but if you aren't a member, there is a link down there as well to learn more about channel membership. That way you can see those member exclusive videos, long form courses, and the members only email address that allows me to see and get back to member emails more quickly. But now, back to the review. I did recently review the Leica M10R, but we actually do not own any M-mount cameras. So why this lens? We've spent more and more time drooling over M-mount lenses, new and old, because as far as mirrorless cameras go, they can be readily adapted to Sony, Fujifilm, L-Mount Alliance, Nikon, Canon, and other brand cameras. M-mount rangefinder lenses were among the first mirrorless lenses. Also, most M-mount lenses have no electronic contacts. That's as simple as it gets. You're mounting the lens, setting aperture on an aperture ring, setting focus manually, and with the range of adapters, you're effectively doing this on any mirrorless camera that you wish. For us, it's been a reminder of simpler times, and it has been a refocus on timing, light, and location, rather than the technology side. I mean, I love technology, I do a ton of reviews, but I love when there's a good balance. First, this lens is small. Even on our fairly large Leica SL2 body, it's a compact setup, and even more so on our Sony Alpha 7R4 or Nikon Z cameras. And yes, with those M-mount adapters, we are using one lens across 3 brands like it's no big deal. This compactness is important to us because with this lens and similarly sized M-mount lenses, we're going out lean and light. And this is important because this lens is not perfect. We'd argue that it's not intended to be. This lens retails for under $400 in the US. A 50mm Leica Summilux lens retails at an over $4,000 price difference. That difference is more than tenfold. Frankly, for most of us, that price is going to be the difference between window shopping and the buy now button. Now, using lenses that are specifically designed for those non-M mount bodies like ours, whether they are independent lens manufacturers or the manufacturer of the camera body itself, you will be getting lenses specifically designed for your camera's mount with electronic contacts and quite often autofocus. And we certainly have plenty of those type of lenses back there. So the balance is what you want to pay for a lens and what you are willing to give up to save what is often a significant amount of money. One thing we've started to notice about ourselves, and something many of you have commented, is that you have your primary system, your workhorse. Maybe that's Nikon, Canon, Sony, or Fujifilm. And then you might have that second system without quite so many lenses, more for the enjoyment or for travel. For our viewers, that second system has often been Fujifilm with their extremely thoughtfully designed cameras. For us right now, it's Leica, but it really can be any number of brands. In fact, when I reviewed the Sigma FP camera, which has an L mount, we were surprised to see how many of you were not only familiar with it, many of you own it. Okay, so where is this going? Today, in 2020, if we've learned anything, it's that you can, and dare I say you should, do your own thing. If you have this 7Artisans lens for your Leica and you want to put it on your Nikon Z50 and use it with the crop sensor, just do it. Set your cool new mirrorless camera to show you what's in focus by highlighting it with a color, or set the viewfinder to show blinking highlights or other technology assist methods. My favorite is that I can often zoom in on an area of the frame in my electronic viewfinder to really nail manual focus. But then you just go for it with your mix of new technology and old school. With this lens, there is an added twist, so to speak. As this lens opens up to f1.1, among all the glass that we have back here and scattered about the studio, this is the widest aperture lens of them all. Whether it's the museum, a night scene, or you want a very, very shallow depth of field out in the landscape world, you will get it with this lens. I saw some envious glances from our Sony 24mm f1.4 G Master when this guy was put on the shelf, but there's room for both, I promise. And here's one reason why. The 24mm G Master for Sony is a technological marvel. A fairly compact f1.4 wide-angle lens that is as optically perfect as anything I've ever seen among everything back here. This 7Artisans 50mm lens is not optically perfect. It's soft at f1.1, except in the very center, giving you a kind of glowing effect. As you stop down a bit, it gets better, and it's quite sharp at f2 and higher, but there's no aperture or subject distance that will give you a technically perfect, distortion-free, sharp across the frame, call your friends and brag about it image. For the price, size, and aperture range, you won't find anything that checks all those boxes. We discussed that with this lens you get the compactness. You get to throw caution to the wind and put it on nearly any brand camera, with an adapter of course, and you get images with their own distinct quality. If this were a Lensbaby, this would be in their Velvet line. In fact, Lensbaby has built an entire company around quirky lenses with qualities like this 7Artisans lens, and plenty more extreme configurations also. I love them. And that's my takeaway with this lens. We could shoot test charts all day and document it all. Others have. You can certainly find them online. But what Raymond and I found is this. When you take a deep breath, get your manual focus rotation muscles tuned up, and enjoy the process and the photographs, there's very little to complain about here. Certainly not the price, not the compatibility. I mean, these adapters are often around $10, and not the image quality when you're willing to look at the photo as a true moment in time, capturing an experience, rather than how many vertical lines of resolution are resolved in a centimeter, which is fine too. Don't come for me in the comments. If you want that kind of experience, there are plenty of other lenses out there for you. Note that Sony 24mm G Master lens. Today's question for those comments below is something that I've asked before, and I love reading the different answers to it. Are you of the mindset that a lens has to check all of the boxes? Or is there room for the quirky cousins who don't bring all of the features nor the expense, but with the right creative vision can produce stunning images regardless? Let me know down in the comments. And as you scroll down to do that, please do give this video a like if you found it helpful or entertaining, and subscribe if you haven't already. It's a win-win. It's a big help for the channel, and I share videos with you every week on all sorts of photography-related stuff. And thank you for watching.